Hello friends and colleagues, I am Stanislav Chernog, the author and creator of the online school of vector massage and somatics, and today we're talking about flabby and sagging, wrinkled inner thighs. The fact is that this area is one of the most important from the point of view of a woman. When a woman looks at her body and sees an uneven, flabby inner thigh, she's certainly horrified because it is not very presentable. Here we can look at our model and see that right here, right near the inguinal region, near the pubis, somewhere here, there is such a bump that clearly stands out and spoils the appearance. I will say more, that the further this problem develops, the greater the volume will be, the worse it will look. Moreover, this area is associated with the fact that lymph accumulates here. This lymph will accumulate and accumulate. This will cause the lymph nodes to take on excess decay products, and this may be associated with inflammation of the lymph nodes and lymphostasis and surgical operations to remove these lymph nodes. Let's see what I'm talking about. If we talk about the inner surface of the thigh, then it should be fairly even. In the upper part we observe a distinct step which shows us the boundary where the lymph clearly stagnates. This volume will be systematically increasing as the person continues to live the same way of life as now. Please know that there seem to be many folds here that show areas where the tissue has sagged, taken on excess fluid and sagged. And as our model becomes older, the depth of these folds will increase and it will get worse and worse. In most cases, when a woman comes to the gym and she's told, well, let's start training the inner surface of the thigh, due to the fact that the instructor as a rule does not imagine that the inner thigh is related to the state of the digestive system and the pelvic floor, instead of improving the health of their model, over-exploitation of these injured muscles occurs, which only leads to worsening of the situation in the long term. My experience is that for 10 women who go to the gym, only 3 are able to tighten the inner surface of the thigh. Moreover, instructors are going to be absolutely convinced that all the women who left and did not get results are just lazy hacks who did not want to train and get a good result. The thing is that they are simply physically unable to perform these actions. Instructors believe that exercise cures all problems because it works with the people it works for. In this video, I'm focusing on how to bring this area into the proper condition with minimal effort. As always, we remember that any problem requires a comprehensive solution. If my model goes to the gym right now and starts training the adductors, it will almost certainly be very bad for the health of the pelvic organs. This is likely to have a bad effect on the intestines and the reproductive function. I want to draw your attention to the fact that the beauty of the abdomen, hips, inner thighs is an indicator of the health of a woman or a man. The fact is that in these areas the reproductive organs and digestive organs are located. If a person has problems in the pelvic organs, then this will lead to the fact that the childbearing function will be reduced and children will be born sick and problematic. This is exactly why we unconsciously read information about the state of the inner thigh or buttocks, and if they are not in a very good condition, then this tells the viewer, the observer, that in the future this person will have problems during pregnancy. For example, there will be an increased level of toxins during pregnancy, and a woman will experience more severe toxicosis. Therefore, the beauty of this region is not a matter of beauty, but a matter of your health and your future and the future of your children. Let's get to work. First of all, of course, we need to definitely work on the lymphatic system, so let's see what we can do beyond lymphatic massage. First, we must remember that there are 2 structures to work with here. First, it is the subcutaneous adipose tissue. Secondly, these are the muscles that are located in the inner surface of the thigh. When we talk about the adductors of the thigh, we must understand where they are located. There are several adductor muscles of the thigh. Firstly, it is a large adductor muscle of the thigh which runs along the entire inner surface. There is a long adductor muscle, a short one, and somewhere here there is also a pectinate muscle, lots of muscles. All of them are attached along the ischium and along the pubic bone. If at the moment when you press on the ischium and on the pubic bone you experience pain, this indicates that these muscles are in a problem state. They are inflamed, and that is exactly why they hurt, and this inflammation will form an excessive load on the lymphatic system, that is, lead to an increase in fat growth. So it is very important that we've initially worked on all of the attachment points of the adductor muscles to the ischium in the process of the work. It is important to remember here that these areas are extremely delicate. You need to get your patient's approval and permission to work on these areas. Also remember that these areas are very painful, so work with great care. First of all, we work on kneading the attachment zones. This relieves inflammation from the muscles and thus improves fluid circulation. The second way to work with muscles is to separate the muscles from each other. Muscles run in parallel layers, and accordingly it is important to separate these muscles if they have grown together. The movement that will allow you to separate these muscles between them is to slide in the direction of the ischial bones along the muscle fibers. I recommend that you be careful and first give a small load and then increase it. That is, if you enter right away, it can cause very unpleasant sensations and inflammation of these muscles. At first we enter slowly, then we increase the load. If you don't have a massage therapist or a person available to give you a massage, you can work on this area yourself. It is not easy. You need to figure out how to put your hands in there. The next important part is the normalization of lymph circulation on the inner surface. And this is a large number of upward movements on the inner surface of the thigh. Here, as always, there are many specifics. It is important that you select the correct pressure. If you press too hard, it will injure the lymphatic vessels and worsen the result. If you work at the wrong speed or not intensively enough, then this will not give progress. Therefore, the depth of pressure and the speed of moves should be adequate to the person's condition. The next important part is, in fact, mechanical work. We first prepare the muscle system, then we prepare the lymphatic system. After that, it is very important that we give a mechanical load to the muscles, to the skin, and to the subcutaneous fat, so that the body knows that it is very important to have the right tissue tone. Here the main movement is the embracing pushing movement. It unfortunately is also not as simple as it seems from the video. There is a complex gripping movement, moving the hands relative to each other, and some other things I do with my fingers. Stanislav, in general, in principle, why do some people grow fat there while others do not? Here we must clearly understand that the body is rational, and if something has grown somewhere, then there are good reasons for growing it. In this case, the person does not have enough physical activity, and here the load matters, not only in terms of that the muscles are in poor condition, but that there is no mechanical irritation of these structures. That is, the body does not need to provide high strength of the inner surface of the thigh. In addition, a large amount of decay products accumulate here, which the body is not able to take into itself and remove from the body on a regular basis. Therefore, the body grows a large amount of fat tissue, and it is inside the fat cells that it dumps decay products. What we are doing, at the moment when we perform a enfolding kneading, on the one hand we allow the body to remove toxic substances from fat cells. We just squeeze them, and then they open up and the liquid comes out of them. And this leads to the fact that fat cells are cleared of decay products. In addition, we have a mechanical effect which in turn stimulates the growth of collagen and elastin. That is, the tissues become denser and more elastic, and as a result, the tropism of fluid through the tissues improves. It is also important here that we work in the right directions. Collagen is not just a chemical substance that we took and dissolved and it was uniformly distributed throughout all tissues. No, collagen is fibers, and depending on in which direction we give the body a load, collagen will grow in these directions. Accordingly, one of the directions of work is the direction along the thigh, and here we form elastic fibers that run across the thigh. On the other hand, I do the load across the thigh and thus form the fibers that will keep the tissues from sliding down. Let's see one more position. Turn over to the other side. It is important to use as many body positions as possible because in different positions of the body we are able to use different pieces of the inner thigh and set different directions in order for the tissue to maintain itself in good shape. By changing the direction of the load, we change the direction of collagen growth and thus make the tissue smooth and uniform in all directions. Remember also that these areas are extremely sensitive and painful. Many people, having learned for the first time about the possibility of removing the inner surface of the thigh, putting it in order through massage, begin to press with all their might until bruising. This is a violation of the protocol and it is not good for the body. It doesn't have to be terribly painful, it doesn't have to be excruciating. Moreover, remember, if you have not done work on the lymphatic system, it can be dangerous for your body. How long do we work on the inner thigh? In general, the standard number of sessions for a modeling massage in order to bring the appearance into the correct state is 15 sessions. That's quite a lot. Why is this happening? The fact is, when we start working with a person, the first stage of our work is to cleanse the one of decay products, and we spend about 3 to 5 sessions on it. In addition, the body at the moment when we begin to influence it is in a state of stress and shock. The fact is that for a long time the body used to live on its own, no one touched it, and then a rather large physical load suddenly comes to the body. When we press the body, when we shift tissues, this is a big physical load. My standard session lasts about an hour and a half for aesthetics, and the load that my patient receives in an hour and a half is equivalent to the load that a person would receive swimming in the pool for those hour and a half. That's a lot of energy we engage. For a person from the street who has never had physical activity, this is all hard and difficult. It takes 5 sessions a person adapts, gets used to the load, and then the main work begins. The main results appear between 8 and 12 sessions. 13th, 15th sessions we do in order to make the result more long-term. We accustom the body that on a regular basis it receives a load and thus it is necessary to keep in shape for a long time and constantly. Of course, when a person continues to live the same way that shaped the appearance that one has, most likely the appearance will return in its previous state. However, if we are talking about this particular model, then if we deal with her problems in the small intestine, if we deal with problems in the lymphatic system, this gives us a chance to radically change the figure of this patient for the rest of her life. That is, if our model continues to move little, eat fast food regularly, get nervous, and do not take care of her health, then of course problems with her body will return. But if we've done a session and a cycle well, then the problems will manifest themselves somewhere else. We sort of fix and repair biological health problems, and if a person continues to have a wrong lifestyle, then problems will appear in other places where we have not worked before. Dear colleagues, I think that our audience will be extremely interested to know how common this problem is, so be sure to write if you work with people, how often do you see the problem of the inner thigh, overhanging inner thigh. Write how you work with it, whether you manage to cope with it, whether this situation is generally curable in your opinion. Also, ordinary viewers who aren't professionals, I ask you to write how interesting and relevant this topic is for you, write how much you would like to get rid of this area with your efforts, and what you are doing in order to solve this problem in your personal life. Perhaps you have some productive scenarios. I will be very interested in reading them. And with you, as always, was Stanislav Chernog, the author and creator of the online school of vector massage and somatics and the YouTube channel of the same name. The channel where we learn to be beautiful and at the same time make good money on it. See you again, friends. Goodbye.